Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic story part 1. The fanfic title is What If Naruto Was Trained by Konoha's Strongest Jonin Instead of Kakashi part 1. If you like this fanfic, don't forget to subscribe my channel. Now let's start the fanfics. Uzumaki Naruto sat in his seat in the CL room. Today he was going to get his Genin team and Junin sensei. It had been one day since the traitor Mizuki had told him that he was the Kyuubi no Kitsune, and Iruka sensei had saved his life, telling him he was really only the demon's container. Naruto had passed the exam by beating Mizuki with the new jutsu he had learned, Kage Bunshin. Now he sat, grinning like a madman, and waited for the teams to be called. Iruka sensei held up a clipboard and started reading the names. Naruto didn't care much as long as he wasn't on Sasuke Bastard's team. Team 7. Uzumaki Naruto, Haruna Sakura. At this Naruto cheered and Sakura hung her head. And Yamanaka Ino. Team 8. Hyuga Hinata, Inuzuka Kiba, Aburame Shino. Team 9. AN. Unimportant and won't be named. Team 10. Uchiha Sasuke, Nara Shikamaru, Akamichi Choji. These are the Genin teams. Everyone wait here for your Junin sensei, except Team 7. You three follow me, Iruka said and left, 3 confused Genin trailing behind him. Iruka sensei, why must I be on a team with Ino Pig and dead last Naruto? Why can't I be on team with Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked, loudly. Iruka sighed and rubbed his head. Because Hokage-sama thinks it is best. Now come on, you 3 have an appointment with him, Iruka said and headed towards the Hokage tower. The 3 Genin exchanged glances before hurrying after the Chunin. When they arrived, they saw several Junin walk out of the Hokage's office before disappearing in smoke. Iruka led the 3 Genin inside the office and they stood to attention in front of the Hokage, well except Naruto who looked bored and had his hands behind his head. Team 7 Hokage-sama, Iruka said and Sandaime Hokage nodded. Yes, thank you Iruka. I suspect you want to stick around to hear this as well. He asked and Iruka nodded. Very well, Sandaime said before clearing his throat. You 3 are lucky. You will be trained by Konoha's strongest Junin. You were handpicked to be trained by him, and I suspect that under his training, you will become great ninjas. Sandaime said smilingly. Naruto, Sakura and Ino looked at each other and was about to say something but Sandaime interrupted. We can take questions later. Your sensei isn't here yet, since he is out on a mission, but he should be back soon. In the meantime I have to ask you something Naruto. Huh, what is it old man? Naruto asked, before getting bonked on the head by Iruka. Naruto's whining was interrupted when Sandaime chuckled before becoming serious again. Naruto, you sensei asked me to ask you if you want to tell your teammates about your secret. Sandaime said and Naruto and Iruka's eyes widened. Sakura and Ino looked at each other before looking at Naruto. What secret? Sakura asked but Naruto was focusing on Sandaime. Won't that make them hate me? He asked and Sandaime looked thoughtful. Your sensei doesn't think so. I agree with him, if you and I tell them the whole story. He said. Naruto thought for a while before looking dejected. Alright, but can you tell them? He said and Sandaime nodded. Hokage-sama, is this wise? Iruka asked and Sandaime looked at him. If White Wolf is right, then it will build a strong sense of trust inside the team. Sandaime said and Iruka nodded. White Wolf? Naruto asked hopefully. Yes, that is the nickname your sensei has. You remember him, don't you Naruto? Sandaime asked and the boy nodded. I remember a little bit about him, Naruto replied. Can someone please tell us what is happening? Ino asked irritated. Yes, now that Naruto has given me permission I will tell you. Sandaime said and drank a little water from a GL that was on his desk. I will tell you the true story about what happened 12 years ago. You know that the Kyuubi no Kitsune attacked Konoha and killed a lot of ninjas. Right? He asked and Sakura and Ino nodded. The demon was very strong and Yondaime-sama saw only one way to stop it. The history books say that he killed the demon with the cost of his own life. That is not true. The truth is that the demon was too strong. So Yondaime-sama and his adoptive son, your sensei, started preparing a special jutsu while the Kyuubi was held off. Your sensei was 7 at the time, but already very powerful and skilled. He helped Yondaime-sama with the jutsu before heading out and helping to delay the demon as well. During that fight, he got his nickname, the White Wolf. He showed huge power that day, actually managing to destroy one of Kyuubi's legs. The Kyuubi regenerated the leg and almost killed your sensei, but Yondaime-sama came before the demon could. He engaged the demon in battle on top of Gamabunta, but he didn't have time to use his jutsu. Your sensei saw this and called out his attack again. Kyuubi heard that and turned his attention on your sensei, not wanting to be hit with that jutsu again. But it was a false call, since White Wolf was out of chakra. But that moment of distraction was enough for Yondaime-sama, who used his jutsu and sealed the Kyuubi's spirit into a newborn baby. He knew the only way to kill Kyuubi was to make him mortal, and the only way to do that was to seal him into a newborn baby, since the baby's chakra coils wasn't fully developed yet. Yondaime-sama sealed the Kyuubi into a boy, and died because of it. The seal was so strong, the Kyuubi would never escape. That boy was Uzumaki Naruto. Sandaime said. Sakura and Ino gasped and looked at Naruto, who looked down at the ground. Yondaime-sama wanted Naruto to be seen as a hero who saved Konoha, but instead he was seen as the demon he is the prison of. Let me make this clear. Naruto is not Kyuubi. Almost everyone in Konoha that was there at the attack knows of the sealing. I penned a law saying that no one was to speak of that. But Konoha didn't believe me when I said that the sealing didn't turn Naruto into Kyuubi. They see Naruto as the demon. But it is not true. Naruto is the demon's prison, and will be its executioner. From what I know of the seal, it started to bind Kyuubi to Naruto's soul when it was sealed. That means that if Naruto dies, Kyuubi dies. Yondaime could have ordered Naruto killed, but he put in a second function to the seal as well. Soon, Naruto will begin to absorb the Kyuubi. What that means is that Naruto will slowly kill the demon, and take its chakra as his own. That was Yondaime-sama's ultimate punishment for Kyuubi. The demon is fully aware of what happens around it, but can't do anything. When Naruto starts to absorb the Kyuubi, he will use its power in Konoha's service. That means that Kyuubi's power will be used to help the village it tried to destroy. Naruto is the protector of Konoha, holding the Kyuubi back. Sadly, that is also why he is hated. Sandaime said sadly. Sakura looked puzzled. Hated? Why? She asked. When Naruto looked at her in disbelief, Ino continued. Yeah, why would the adults hate the boy that saved them? She asked. Naruto stared at them both. You don't hate me? He asked hesitantly. Sakura and Ino grinned at each other. Well, you are annoying, loud and stupid. Sakura began. But no demon. Anyone should be able to see that. Ino continued. And besides, from what Hokage-sama said, that thing was sealed inside you and isn't you. You are Naruto, Kyuubi is Kyuubi. That's all there is to it. Sakura said. Naruto couldn't do anything except stare at them, a couple of tears rolling down his face. That confused the girls. Why are you crying, Naruto? Ino asked. Naruto has been hated all his life. Iruka said. Sandaime nodded. Yes. Instead of being seen as the hero he is, Naruto has been seen as the demon all his life. From the moment Kyuubi was sealed into Naruto, he has been hated. He was an orphan, and at the orphanage he was constantly abused by his caretakers. So I had no choice but to buy an apartment for him, and IGN someone to help him, but even then he was abused. Glares, words of hate, physical abuse, death threats and I-Nation attempts are only a little bit of what Konoha has done to Naruto. You wonder why he wears an orange jumpsuit. That is because the only clothing store in Konoha that will let him in, will only sell him its poorest clothes. The reason Naruto loves ramen. He can't get anything else. You have called him dead last. The reason he is that is because Kyuubi makes his chakra control bad and no one wants to teach him. Even Iruka hated Naruto for a long time. Sandaime said. Sakura and Ino stared in disbelief at Naruto before turning to Iruka with angry glares. Iruka looked ashamed. Kyuubi killed my parents, and I was so sure Naruto was Kyuubi. So I hated him, but over time I saw that he was just an ordinary boy with a huge burden. Hokage-sama explained to me that Naruto wasn't the demon, but I wouldn't listen. Then I remembered a day about 2 weeks after the Kyuubi was sealed. Iruka said. What happened, Iruka-sensei? Naruto asked. Naruto was almost executed, Sandaime said, and the three genin whipped around and stared at him. The council had been trying to overpower me about Naruto for 2 weeks. Yondaime-sama left a will saying that Naruto was to be treated like any regular boy, and be raised as a ninja. But the council didn't want that. They wanted the Kyuubi killed. Normally the council can't overpower me, but they got all the clans in Konoha to agree, and even without my consent, Naruto's execution was arranged. Your sensei and his teammates, Hitaki Kakashi and Haruno Rin, A.N. In this story, Sakura's mom is Rin, one of the students of the Yondaime Hokage, were just in time to stop the execution. The three of them were the first ones to know that Naruto wouldn't be the demon. Kakashi and Rin had been released from the hospital the day before and had went back to get your sensei, since he was the only one that the council would listen to. I will never forget that day. Flashback. A huge crowd was gathered around a podium in the center of Konoha. On the podium, a group of important people stood, the Sandaime Hokage, the council, and the elders and heads of every clan in Konoha. In front of them a baby boy lay in a simple cradle, crying. The council had just finished announcing that they would kill the Kyuubi once and for all. A hooded man stepped forward and raised his sword. The executioner waited for his signal and got it from the council. He swung the sword downwards, preparing to kill the baby. A clang and his sword were stopped. In front of him 3 people stood. A brown-haired girl was holding the Kyuubi boy, a silver-haired boy with his Konoha Hita 8 spelled right. Tilted over his right eye stood next to the girl. The two of them looked about 18 or 19. I don't care about their real age. Here they are 18 years older than Naruto, but the one that had stopped the sword was the one the executioner and the council focused on. Brown hair with golden streaks in it, brown eyes with a black ring framing the brown, and an innocent face. The 7-year-old white wolf. He shouldn't be able to move yet, his right leg had been crushed and 6 of his ribs had been broken in the fight against Kyuubi. Numerous other wounds had been inflicted also, most noticeable were 3 claw marks down his right cheek. He had stopped the sword with his bare hand, and was now emitting a killer intent so strong, the executioner would have collapsed had not the boy held his sword up. With a movement of his hand, the boy had shattered the sword. The executioner fell to the floor and ped out. The boy looked at the council and spat before turning to Sandaime. Hokage-sama, why is there only idiots and imbeciles in the council and as heads of the clans? He asked loud enough that the crowd could hear. They had fallen completely silent when the trio had shown up. Those 3 were supposed to hate the demon brat as well, since their teacher had been killed by it. Instead they were protecting it. I do not know Wolf, but I suspect they didn't listen to my explanation about the seal and the boy. Sandaime replied. The boy sighed and walked up his teammates. The boy stroked Naruto's cheek and the boy gurgled a little, grinning happily up at the one who had saved him. This boy is the Kyuubi's prison, not the Kyuubi itself. The seal I and Yondaime-sama created is designed to make it so that this boy will be able to kill Kyuubi when he is old enough. But that can't happen yet, and the seal hasn't had enough time to become complete yet. If Naruto dies now, Kyuubi is released. If Naruto lives, he can use the Kyuubi's power to protect Konoha, thus make up for what the demon did to us. I will give you fair warning. Hokage-sama has ped a law, saying that anyone who speaks about Naruto and Kyuubi without Naruto's consent will be severely punished. Also, Anyone that tries to kill him will be punished as well. If the Anbu find the ones breaking these rules, the ones who broke the rules will be put in jail. If I find the ones who broke the rules, I will kill them. No trial. It won't matter who it is, be it a ordinary villager, or a Hyuga. That doesn't matter. The ones who try to hurt this boy, the boy chosen by Yondaime Hokage-sama to be our hero, will face the consequences. You have been warned. The white wolf roared to the crowd, his killer intent making even the Anbu feel uneasy. Kakashi and Rin didn't say anything, instead they tried to calm Naruto down. End flashback. That day was the day that ensured Naruto's survival. Most of the clans had been hesitant to help the council, since they didn't know if Naruto was the Kyuubi or not. Wolf's speech told them that Naruto was indeed an innocent boy and most of the clans backed away, some even promised to protect the boy, like the Hitaki and Haruno clans. But others, like the Uchiha and Hyuga clans still didn't believe it. The council didn't either, but understood that at the very least, Kyuubi's power would not be able to hurt Konoha. But the villagers still hated Naruto, and treated him like crap. Kakashi, Rin and Wolf tried to help Naruto as much as they could, but Rin had her own daughter to take care of, Kakashi was busy with being Jonin, and Wolf was busy training and learning everything Yondaime-sama wanted him to. So I had to move Naruto to his apartment, and that is when the I Nation attempt started. I had originally ordered some babysitters to take care of Naruto, but they would just help the ins, so I had to get ninjas who believed what Wolf said to take care of you. Most of them were genin, so I also had to have Anbu protect you. Wolf would make as much time for you as he could and stopped more ins than he cared to count. He got tired of not knowing who hired the ins and got the leader of the Anbu interrogation squad to teach him how to break even the best ninjas. So Wolf started a very effective strategy. He would stop the inn from killing Naruto, learn who hired the inn, kill the inn or sometimes just arrest him, and pay the client a visit. Those visits could be heard all over Konoha from the screams of the client. That campaign got Wolf hated by Konoha as well, but he didn't care. And as he said, it didn't matter who it was that tried to kill Naruto. If it was a Uchiha, Wolf would kill him, take the Uchiha's eyes and send them to the client before the visit. If it was a Hyuga, Wolf would send the bloody Hyuga crest to the client before his visit. All of this earned Wolf a second nickname, the Blood Wolf. Then one day, the Uchiha stopped trying to kill Naruto. They had tried for 3 years and had lost a lot of ins. They made a sort of a peace treaty with Wolf, promising to stop trying to kill Naruto as long as Wolf didn't kill any other Uchiha. But the Hyuga continued and Wolf got tired of it. He saw that it was mostly Hyugas from the branch family that was sent as ins. The Hyuga is divided into 2 families, the main and branch. The main is the founders and leaders, the branch are there to protect the main. The main use a special seal to keep the branch family in line, called the caged bird seal. That seal destroys the Hyuga bloodline after the Hyuga with the seal is dead, but can also be used to inflict terrible pain. Wolf asked one of the ins from the Hyuga branch family why he was trying to kill Naruto. The reply was that a man from the council of the main family forced him, saying they would activate the seal on his wife and daughter if he didn't comply. I still remember the howl Wolf emitted then. As I said, whenever he fights to his full potential, he wears a wolf mask. He also sounds like a wolf. That day, he took Naruto to Rin, and brought the inn to me. I was puzzled as to why the inn still was alive, when Wolf explained. The inn didn't really want to kill Naruto, the branch Hyuga family generally believed Wolf and saw Naruto as Naruto. So Wolf took the inn and me to the Hyuga compound, reunited the inn with his wife and daughter before dragging the main family member that had ordered the I Nation and flung him on the ground in front of the Hyuga's main building. Just about every member of the Hyuga families came and saw what happened next. Sandaime said, huffing for breath after that long speech. Flashback. This man, this scum of a man, has just ordered a family man to kill Uzumaki Naruto, knowing full well that I would most likely kill him. Why did he do it? Because he hates Naruto, and the Branch family. Two birds with one stone, right? Wolf said, glaring at the Hyuga he was standing in front of. The head of the Hyugas, Hyuga Hiashi, walked over to Sandame. What is Wolf-san going to do? He asked. Sandame looked at Hiashi. He knew that Hiashi didn't see Naruto as Kyuubi, but didn't like the boy anyway. Instead, Hiashi disliked the boy because he was of an unknown clan, and to Hyuga Hiashi that spoke weak and useless. But at least Hiashi didn't hate the boy because of the Kyuubi. I don't know, but I think he is going to show your council that he is tired of the state of affairs. Sandame replied. The two of them focused back on the boy when he started making seals. Everyone recognized the seals. Suddenly a green seal was on the forehead of the Hyuga in front of Wolf. The caged bird seal. I will show everyone what will happen if the Hyuga still try to kill Naruto. Wolf said and activated the seal on the scared Hyuga's forehead. He screamed in pain and started writing on the ground. The screaming continued for about 5 minutes, but right before the Hyuga was about to die, Wolf stopped. He turned to the council of Hyuga elders. Some might think this is a little much, but think about the fact that this man has ordered someone to kill a 3-year-old boy. When the man refused to do what this bastard ordered, he threatened to use this seal on the poor man's wife and child. Is that fair? I think this bastard has deserved all he got. Just as a warning, every main family member that orders Uzumaki Naruto killed will receive the same treatment from me that this man has. Wolf said in a loud voice. A murmur went off the main family. He is just a kid. Horrible power. And similar things were heard. Wolf ignored it, turned to the Hyuga under him and asked him. Do you have kids? The Hyuga refused to reply, or he intended, but when he looked at Wolf, the brown eyes of the boy had changed. Instead they were glowing. The brown had been replaced by light blue, bordering on white with a black ring around and the black pupil in the middle. After seeing that eye, the Hyuga realized he was shaking his head, indicating that he didn't have any children, which was true. Well then, I hope you will have sufficient time to think about your crimes in the afterlife. Wolf said and was about to kill the man, but Sandame stopped him. Don't. This man is to be arrested and not even the Hyuga council can get him out. Sandame said. Wolf looked at him and nodded, returning his eyes to their normal brown with the black ring. End flashback. After that, the Hyuga stopped trying to kill Naruto. Sandame finished and sat back in his chair. Sakura and Ino looked at Naruto and saw his look of disbelief. Sakura, Ino and Iruka was surprised as well. They would never have believed that so much could happen to someone so young. So that's why. Okazen never said I should stay away from Naruto, instead she said I should play with him. But all the other parents said to stay away from Naruto. I understand why now, Sakura said and Ino nodded in agreement. Yeah, Okazen and Otosan never told me to stay away, but I did anyway. That was probably because Naruto was a boy though. Ino said. Yes Sakura, your mother, Rin, would never tell you to stay away from Naruto, since she is one of the few people to know exactly how that seal works. So now you have heard Naruto's past. I hope that Wolf was right and that this will help the team. Sandame said and smiled. Iruka looked at the 3 genin and smiled as well. At least Sakura and Ino don't fear Naruto. That is a start at least. He thought. Then he noticed that Naruto was uncharacteristically silent. Anyo, if sensei, Kakashi-san and Sakura-chan's mom took care of me when I was little, why don't I remember them much? All I remember is someone being nice to me when I was smaller. Shouldn't I remember them better? Naruto asked. Well, you had a loss of your memory when you were 6 because of an attack from a villager, so what you remember of them is probably blurry. And before you ask, the reason Wolf hasn't been a part of your life since then is because he has been on a mission. For the last 6 years he has been traveling the world, trying to find a relative of yours. He is returning later today. His search was sadly unsuccessful. Sandame said and Naruto's eyes widened. He has traveled 6 years just to find me a family. He asked and Sandaime nodded. Understand Naruto, Wolf cares for you like a big brother would. He wants you to be happy, and one day before your memory loss, you asked him if you had family. He told you he didn't know, but if you wanted he could go and search for them. Which he did. But now he is coming back. Sandaime said and Naruto nodded. When is Wolf-sensei going to be here? Ino asked. Sandaime looked at the clock and looked at a scroll on his desk. About 2 hours from now. If you three don't have any other questions, then you are dismissed. Only, don't tell anyone about what has been said here, at least no one other than your parents. Sandaime said and Ino and Sakura nodded. We won't. We will keep Naruto's secret. They both said and smiled. Good. I am glad Naruto has such smart teammates. Sandaime said and the two girls looked slightly embered that the Hokage praised them like that. Old man, could you tell us a bit more about Wolf-sensei? Naruto asked. Ino and Sakura also became curious at that and Sandaime shook his head while smiling. Alright, I will. As I said, I won't tell you his name, but I can tell you he is 7 years older than you. He was an orphan that was adopted by Yondaime-sama when Wolf was 2. All his life Wolf was trained. Yondaime-sama didn't often play favorite, but when Wolf graduated from the academy at age 5 and got on his team, Yondaime-sama couldn't help but train Wolf more than the rest of the team, since Kakashi and Rin both were Jonins then, and would soon leave the team. For 2 years Wolf was trained by Yondaime-sama, and his growth was nothing short of spectacular. I have never seen such MIV power growth, but it came at a cost. Sandaime said and looked sad. What do you mean Hokage-sama? Sakura asked. Wolf never experienced a childhood. He was constantly trained, either by Yondaime-sama, Kakashi, Rin or Obito. Kakashi and Rin's team mated that was killed on a mission. Wolf never played much with other children, and he graduated at a younger age than most begin the academy now. Of course, those times were different, war always is, but still. That is part of the reason the academy doesn't allow anyone younger than 6 to enter the academy now. Children should be allowed to be children. Sandaime said and Iruka nodded in agreement. So, Wolf-sensei was trained by Yondaime-sama. But he was only trained by him for 5 years. That is not a long time. Sakura said and Sandaime nodded. I agree, but Wolf is special. He is what is known as a jutsu specialist. That means that he learns jutsus much faster than others, and with his hard work and dedication, he learned a lot from Yondaime-sama, who knew he had a dangerous job and he wanted Wolf to be able to grow even without him. So Yondaime-sama made several scrolls, I don't know how many, but he made at least 1 scroll each week from he adopted Wolf to he died. Those scrolls were full of jutsus, training schedules, ninja theory, and all kinds of things. In short, Yondaime-sama has trained Wolf long after he died. Sandaime explained and picked up the forbidden scroll of seals that Naruto had stolen the day before. This is the forbidden scroll of seals. Mizuki tricked Naruto into stealing it the day before yesterday, and Naruto learned a jutsu from it. I don't know if you looked further into the scroll, but these jutsus are Jonin level at least. Wolf knows all these, including the last one, which is the sealing jutsu that Yondaime-sama used on Kyuubi. Even I don't know how many jutsus Wolf knows, but it is close to as many as I do, which is a lot. Sandaime said and put away the scroll again. While he did that, Ino and Sakura glared at Naruto. What? He asked and Sakura bonked him on the head. Stupid. Stealing a forbidden scroll, she said and Ino joined in with a bonk of her own. Stop it you two. Naruto was tricked by Mizuki, who tried to kill me. Naruto saved me and protected the scroll. There is no reason to bonk him, I already did. Iruka said and Sakura and Ino nodded. Sandaime chuckled at the exchange. Naruto hurriedly asked the next question that pooped into his mind. You said he fights with a mask on when he goes all out. Why? He asked. Sandaime thought for a bit. A bit turned into a while. A while turned into a long while. I don't know exactly. I think it has something to do with his bloodline. His bloodline is, along with his natural jutsu mind, hard work and dedication, responsible for his power growth. I don't know much about it, but I know that when he is normal, his eyes are brown with a black ring around them. But when he fights, the brown in his eyes change to pale glowing blue. And when he is fighting at his full power, or is in great need, a white mask comes out of his face. The mask is different than what the Anbu wears. It is made out of bone, and looks like a wolf. It even has the teeth of a wolf. It truly makes him look frightening. Also, his chakra is different. When he is normal, it is like us, the blue fire. But when he has his eyes changed or his mask out, his chakra is different. It flows around him in the same color his eyes are. He shines like a blue sun when he isn't hiding it. The sight is actually very calming and comforting, as long as you aren't his opponent. Sandaime finally said, and the three genin looked at each other. If you still wonder, why don't you ask him to show you when he gets here? Now, I have some work to do. I'll see you later, Sandaime said. The three genin and one chunin nodded and left. Okay, I will try and help you see how a wolf's bloodline is active. It looks like how Ichigo from Bleach looks like when he is fighting the captain from the 11th Division and he is borrowing Zangetsu's power. There, now you know. Naruto, Sakura and Ino said goodbye to Iruka and walked towards Sakura's house. When they arrived, Naruto waved goodbye and was about to leave when Sakura grabbed his jacket. Sakura-chan? Naruto asked, turning to face his teammate. Okazen said that my teammates were welcome for dinner, so come on. One of those that saved your 12 years ago is making dinner. Why are you complaining? Sakura asked and Ino grinned at Naruto. She's a really good cook as well. Ino said. Naruto nodded and the three of them went into the house. I'm home, Sakura yelled when she and her two teammates entered the house. Good honey, I'm in the kitchen. Rin yelled back. Sakura, Naruto and Ino went into the kitchen and Naruto had to suppress a gasp. He immediately recognized the brown-haired woman who was currently busy making dinner. From the woman's brown hair, to the two rectangular stripes on her cheeks in her kind manner. He was sure that when she turned around, he would recognize her brown cheerful eyes as well. This was a woman that had took care of him before, and he could clearly remember things she and a silver-haired man had done along with him, taking him out for ramen, letting him ride on their backs. Suddenly he also remembered a brown-haired boy along with the two. Naruto didn't know why, but just seeing Rin again, had brought back some of the memories he had forgotten. Okazen, this is my team, Yamanaka Ino and Uzumaki Naruto. Sakura said and grinned when her mom dropped the knife she had been using to cut the vegetables. Rin spun around and looked at the three amused kids. Ino smiled and bowed. Hello Haruno-san, she said. Naruto bowed as well. Hello, he said and Rin smiled at them. Hello Ino-chan, Naruto-kun. Glad to see you again. Rin said before walking over to Naruto and giving him a hug. His eyes widened before hugging her back. Ino and Sakura looked at each other before smiling at the display. Okazen, is it true that you saved Naruto's life when he was about to be executed? Sakura asked. Rin's eyes widened. How did you know that? She asked, letting go of Naruto, who was rather reluctant to end the hug. Hokage-sama told us, after he told us about Kyuubi. So, is it true? Ino said and Rin nodded. Wow, I really had people that cared when I was smaller. Naruto said and Rin laughed. Of course we cared. Why wouldn't we? Rin asked, laughing slightly. Naruto didn't respond, instead he just looked happy. Real happy. Who's your sensei? Rin asked Sakura, when the four of them had sat down with the finished dinner. Sakura, Ino and Naruto grinned at each other. Oh, you are going to love this. But you will have to guess. Sakura said playfully. Rin thought for a bit. Kakashi. I know he said he was teaching this year. She asked but Sakura shook her head. I don't know. Can you give me a hint? Rin asked and Sakura thought for a bit. He knows about me and Kyuubi. Naruto said slyly. That Dosen, oh, you mean he knows that you and Kyuubi are two different beings? Rin asked and Naruto nodded. Rin lapsed into another thoughtful silence. Oh, I give up. I was never any good at guessing anyway. Who is it? Rin said, looking dejected. Oh, alright. We don't know his real name though. Sakura said and Rin's eyes widened in disbelief. No, not him. He is on a mission. She said and Sakura grinned. If you are talking about the white wolf, then he is coming back today. Just to be our sensei. Sakura said and Rin blinked a few times. Wow, my daughter taught by him. Sheesh, you'll be stronger than me in no time, she said playfully faking annoyance. Is Wolf Sensei that good? Ino asked and Rin nodded. Yeah, he is. Ayumu Hokage-sama told you he fought against Kyuubi. Rin asked and the three kids nodded. Yeah, he was able to hold of Kyuubi. Naruto said. You make it sound as if he was able to do it alone. There were about 100 ninjas helping him hold the Kyuubi of. True. His most powerful jutsu, Heaven Light, was able to rip off Kyuubi's leg, but it left him completely drained and Kyuubi had by then already been damaged for a long time. I think the stories are a bit overexaggerated, but still, for a 7-year-old that is unheard of. Rin said. They then ate in silence. Ino and Sakura were amazed that Naruto showed table manners instead of being a slob. Naruto, Sakura, Ino and Rin sat in the living room at the Haruno home, Rin telling stories about Wolf. So he turned to me and said, I don't think Kakashi will get up again. Perhaps you should heal him. I just shook my head and said, that's what he gets from reading that perverted book in front of me. The four of them laughed at that, thinking of how the famous copy Nin had almost died because he read some stupid book in front of Rin. I didn't think the famous copy Nin Kakashi was such a stupid pervert. Ino said, oh, he's not stupid, just a pervert. Not as much as Jiraiya though, thank God, or else it would have been hell to be his teammate. Rin said and Naruto was about to ask who Jiraiya was when Rin stiffened before she grinned widely. Well then, it seems your sensei is back in town. She said and the three genin instantly sat to attention. You can feel his chakra? Sakura asked and Rin nodded slowly. Well, I did when he let me just now, but now he has hit it again. But he is here, I suggest we go to the Hokage and wait there. He will be sure to head home first, then report in, she said and Naruto jumped into the air. Let's go, he yelled, pumped a hand into the air and rushed towards the door. He's exited about meeting his sensei, Rin said smilingly while following the blonde bundle of energy. Hey old man. Rin Ne-san said Wolf Sensei is back in Konoha. Naruto yelled at the poor Hokage, who jumped in his seat. Behind Naruto, his team looked at Rin curiously. Why is Naruto calling you that? Sakura asked her mother, who chuckled at the question. It seems Naruto-kun is remembering a little from when he was younger. That was his nickname for me back then. Rin replied and Ino and Sakura looked at Naruto, who were now speaking happily with Sandame. What about the two girls didn't know, but both Naruto and Sandame were smiling while Naruto described something while waving his hands in the air. The three girls felt strangely out of place, seeing Naruto and Sandame interact like that, and knowing that Naruto only had been able to talk like this with very few people. Then suddenly a knock came on the door. Instantly the room was silent, even Naruto shut up. Enter. Sandame commanded and the door opened. In stepped a tall man, brown and golden hair, warm brown eyes, 3 scars on his cheek, a handsome face and a muscular build that could make many jealous. He wore the standard Jonin uniform, the only exception was that he had a katana on his back and a shorter sword on his hip. Kunai and shuriken holders on each thigh, and 2 weapon pouches in his belt. The white wolf had arrived. He looked around the room, smiled at Rin, Sakura, Ino and Naruto while he bowed at Sandame. He started walking towards the Hokage's desk, but Rin hugged him first. Good to see you. She told him. Likewise. The reply came while he hugged her back. Wolf then took the rest of the steps towards the desk and placed a scroll there. Mission failure Hokage-sama, he said, and Sandaime nodded in understanding. I see. Very well. Welcome back. I assume you recognize your team, he said, and Wolf nodded before turning to the three genin. Yes. Hello Naruto, Sakura, Ino. It's good to meet you. I hope the four of us can work well together, he said. Naruto was about to say something when Sakura interrupted him. Uncle Tenchi, she asked in disbelief, and he nodded. Let me introduce myself. I am Tengoku Tenchi, also known as the White Wolf or Uncle Tenchi. I also remember Naruto call me, Tenchi began, but Naruto interrupted. Tenchi-asen, he said happily, and Tenchi nodded while smiling slightly. Asen can mean either old man or uncle. Which one he means is probably old man. Well, I'm glad you remember a little bit. How are you two? Tenchi asked. Sakura grinned at him before she glomped him. I missed you Uncle Tenchi, she said while hugging him tightly. Tenchi laughed and lifted Sakura into the air before him, looking her over. You've grown, kid. But your chakra is low. Are you training right? He asked, and Sakura blushed a little. Tenchi sat her down and picked up Naruto instead. Naruto tried to squirm out of the grip, but Tenchi didn't let go. My, you have a lot of energy, don't you? That's good, use that in training and you'll do just fine. But change those clothes. Why are you wearing a orange jumpsuit? Tenchi asked, and Naruto pouted. It was all the shopkeeper would give me. All the others just kicks me out, Naruto explained. Tenchi looked sad before placing Naruto back down. He then turned to Ino, who backed away a little. But Tenchi didn't try to pick her up, instead he held out his hand. Nice to meet you Yamanaka Ino, he said, and Ino shook his hand. Nice to meet you sensei, she replied, giving him a smile. Tenchi gave her a gentle smile back before turning to Sandaime. Have you done as I suggested? Tenchi asked, and Sandaime nodded. Yes, they now know about Naruto and Kyuubi. I think they know some things about you as well now, like your glowing battle eyes. Sandaime said and smiled broadly when Tenchi looked a little surprised at that. He turned to his students and gave a mock glare. What do you know about me, he asked, and the three genin grinned. Ino took a step forward and entered lecture mode. Lecture mode being she placing her hands on her hips and leaning slightly towards Tenchi. We know that you are 7 years older than us, that you are an orphan adopted by Yondaime Hokage-sama, that you have been trained all life, that you helped Yondaime-sama when he prepared his sealing jutsu, and that you fought Kyuubi when it attacked. We know that your growth was unheard of, that you became so skilled so fast that you never had time to be a kid. Ino said, took a step backwards, and Naruto stepped forward and mimicked Ino's lecture mode. We know that you were one of the first people to see me as Naruto and not Kyuubi. We know that you saved my life even when you were supposed to be in the hospital, that you were the one to give the clans that doubted the execution, strength and courage to stand against the council, the Uchiha and the Hyuga. We know that you stopped more I-Nation attempts on me than any other in Konoha, and that you have killed more Ins than the Anbu have arrested, and that you have killed and tortured more of the Hyuga clan than any other Konoha citizen. Naruto said, took a step back, and Sakura stepped forward, she also in the lecture mode. We know that you were on the same team as Okazen and Hatake Kakashi, even though they were much older than you. We know that you care much for those close to you, and are one of the best at piggyback ride. You were the first to teach me a chakra exercise. We also know that you are the strongest Jonin in Konoha, Sakura said, and to empathize the piggyback ride part, Rin jumped up on Tenchi's back, grinning widely. Tenchi stumbled a little but regained his balance fast. I also know that you turned down the offer to become the Godime Hokage, Sandaime said, and Tenchi nodded. I have no intention to become Hokage, since I don't want to protect all of Konoha, he said, and Naruto looked at him with big eyes. Why not? You are a Jonin, right? Why won't you protect Konoha? He asked, and Tenchi looked at him with serious eyes. I protect those that I feel deserve it and my precious people. People who treat others with respect and don't hurt others without a good reason are worthy in my book. That is why I wanted Sandaime to tell Sakura and Ino about Kyuubi. If they saw you as Kyuubi, then they wouldn't be worthy of my protection, even though I look at Sakura as my niece. Most people in Konoha aren't worthy in my book, but some are. That is why I won't become Hokage. I would be the first Hokage to not protect his people. Tenchi said, and Naruto nodded slowly. Well then, I suppose I should take these kids to our training grounds and give them their Jonin test. Tenchi said, and Rin hopped of his back. Uncle Tenchi. We already ped the Jonin test. Sakura said. The three Jonin were really confused when Sandaime and Rin grinned at each other and Tenchi became serious. You ped the test that showed you have the potential to become Jonin, but now you have to convince me that I want to spend my time training you three. This test has a failure rate of 66%, which means there will be a maximum of 9 new Jonin this year. Now you three run home, get your ninja equipment and meet me at training area 7 in half an hour. Move, Tenchi said, and the three Jonin scrambled from the Hokage's office. You are evil sometimes. They clearly showed enough teamwork to pee, even though they haven't trained together at all. Rin said, and Tenchi chuckled. I know, I just want to know what I have to work on here. See you two later, Tenchi said, and was about to leave when Rin stopped him. Come to dinner tomorrow, okay? She asked, and Tenchi nodded before vanishing in a blur. Tenchi reappeared in the training area designated to Team 7. He saw that another Jonin was there and recognized him as Kakashi. The man stood by the memorial statue for the fallen Konoha shinobi. Tenchi walked up to him and just stood by his side in silence. A few minutes went by before Kakashi spoke. I knew you were back. Felt your chakra. Have you met your team yet? He asked, and Tenchi nodded. Hi. They live up to my expectations. They already ped the test before coming here. Sakura and Ino both accepted Naruto even though they now know about Kyuubi. Tenchi said, and Kakashi chuckled a little. I see. It's going to be interesting to see their progress. He said before turning to Tenchi. I have a proposition. He said, and instantly had Tenchi's attention. Shot. He replied. We train our teams together sometimes. Naruto and Sasuke are sort of rivals and will just push each other harder. Sakura and Ino both fight over Sasuke, and with him there they will work harder. Shikamaru and Choji are at least familiar with Ino and will probably be forced by the girl to work harder. And besides, 2 teachers are better than 1. Kakashi said, and Tenchi laughed. Kakashi, you are constantly late. I would end up teaching those kids alone. But you are right, sort of, so I accept. 1 day a week we will train the kids together. If both teams have time, that is. But on those days, you have to be on time, or else, Tenchi said, the last bit threatening, and Kakashi shivered a bit before nodding. Deal. When is best that we train together then? Kakashi asked. Saturdays. That's the days least likely we have any inter-village missions, so that would be most convenient. So, you ped your team then? Tenchi asked, and Kakashi shook his head. No, not yet. I am supposed to meet them 1.5 hours ago, but I have a feeling they will be a worthy enough team. Have you seen Rin? He asked, and Tenchi nodded. Yeah, she helped Sakura empathize that I give good piggyback rides. I was invited to dinner tomorrow, but didn't get to speak much with her. How is she? Tenchi asked, and Kakashi saddened a little. Well, after you left she and Sakura did okay, but it was a bit much for Rin. First she loses her husband against some missing nin, and then her little brother has to go on a several-year-long mission. But I suppose she has handled everything well, although she feels bad about not caring more for Naruto. After you left, we kind of left him to himself. Kakashi said, and rubbed his head in an embered way. Tenchi glared at him before sighing. I can't really blame you either. Rin has Sakura, and the council refused to let her adopt Naruto. You have your missions. I guess we all left him to himself. I just have to make it up to him by training him to become the best ninja he can be. Tenchi said and Kakashi nodded. Well, I'm off to see my team. I'll be seeing you on Saturday. Kakashi said and poofed out. Tenchi turned to the stone and stood there, waiting for his team. The three genin found their sensei still staring at the memorial stone. When he sensed them behind him, he bowed to the stone before turning around and addressing them. This is the stone which the names of the heroes of Konoha is remembered. Tenchi said and Naruto got a excited look on his face. Literally bouncing he proclaimed, Alright, I am going to be on that stone someday. He said confidently. That confidence fell right off him like a cold shower when he saw Tenchi's look. Sakura and Ino also saw the look and felt uneasy by it. Tenchi turned and lay a hand on the stone before speaking in a low, but very clear tone. This stone is to honor those that lost their lives in the service of Konoha. These people, these ninjas, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, friends and lovers, gave their lives for Konoha and their precious people. Naruto, Sakura and Ino looked surprised at that, and Naruto had an additional look of horror over his face. Then Tenchi turned around with 5 bells in his hand. This is my bell test. It is different from the others. You have 5 hours. In those 5 hours you are to try and grab one of these bells. Those of you that don't get a bell when the time is up, gets tied to one of those logs, Tenchi said and pointed to the 3 vertical logs behind the genin. The one that gets tied to the log won't get food and will be sent back to the academy. But there is a catch. Every hour I am going to destroy one of the bells. That means that in 3 hours, one of you will go to the log. Now I suggest you come at me with killer intent in order to do this. Tenchi finished his explanation and Naruto suddenly grabbed 2 shuriken and threw towards Tenchi, who were behind Naruto with the 2 shuriken in his left hand against Naruto's neck. Now, I didn't say, beggin' did I? But at least you tried to kill me. Tenchi said and Naruto, Sakura and Ino gulped at the speed he moved. I couldn't even see him. The 3 of them thought. Now begin. Tenchi said and the 3 genin were off. Sakura took off and ran in a wide circle around Tenchi, and hid on the other side of the clearing in a cluster of trees. She then gawked when she saw that Tenchi was meditation in the middle of the training area, an aura of calmness practically radiation from him. She saw the 5 bells gleam in his belt and began to think. Why 5 bells? Why 5 hours? Why destroy 1 bell each hour? Wait. With his speed, he can evade any attack we throw at him. He plans to dodge us for 3 hours so that we will become desperate to get a bell. This is all just a plot to set us against each other. I have to find Ino and Naruto. With that, Sakura left her hiding place and began searching for her teammates. She found Naruto, uncharacteristically sitting still, observing Tenchi. Naruto is quiet. What happened? Sakura thought and approached Naruto. Naruto, what happened? You're quiet and calm. Is something wrong? Sakura asked and Naruto shook his head. I have got my memory back. He just said. Sakura winced. That's got to involve some very painful memories. She thought. And I remembered when Tenchi-Asen and Rin-Ne-san and Aro Kakashi were playing with me. They taught me, under the disguise of a game, how to be stealthy. When we played tag, they taught me how to observe my opponent before striking. I remember it all now. Seeing Tenchi-Asen talk in front of that stone must have triggered the memories or something. Naruto said and looked at Sakura. Sakura winced again at his eyes. They looked happy but horrified at the same time. Sakura-chan, I remember so much hate, and so much care. Konoha hates me. Tenchi-Asen, Rin-Ne-san, Aro Kakashi, Iruka-sensei, the people at Ichiraku Ramen and Old Man Hokage cares about me. It's so strange. Before it seemed everything before Tenchi-Asen left was blank, but now I remember everything, I think. Naruto said, his tone very serious. Sakura smiled at him. Well then, if that is good then I am happy for you Naruto. Also I think I and Ino care about you as well. As teammates and perhaps friends. Sakura said and chuckled at Naruto's uplifted look. Really? he asked and Sakura nodded. Wow. Thank you Sakura-chan. What is Ino doing? Naruto said. Sakura whirled around to see Ino rushing towards Tenchi. Shit. She doesn't understand the meaning of this. Sakura cursed and Naruto looked at her. The meaning? He asked and Sakura nodded. The reason there is 5 bells in 5 hours is to make us sweat and become desperate to get a bell. When 3 hours is gone, one of us goes to the log. Neither of us wants that, so we have to get a bell. What the true purpose is to get us to work together and get 3 bells that way. It's all a trick to fool us. Sakura explained and Naruto was tempted to praise her loudly before he remembered they were supposed to hide. Wow Sakura-chan, you really are smart. I would never have figured that out. Naruto said with awe in his voice, making Sakura blush slightly. Well, we have to help Ino. Come on, she commanded and they headed towards their now struggling teammate. Ino had also hid in some trees, watching her sensei. But unlike Sakura, she didn't think too much about what Tenchi had said. All she knew was that she needed to get a bell and she wanted it fast. If she didn't then she would go back to the academy and Sasuke would never proclaim his love for her. So she did the only thing she could think of. She rushed towards Tenchi as silently as she could. The trouble was that when she reached him, Tenchi was gone. She looked around for any sign of him, but saw none. Then suddenly she was grabbed around her legs and pulled underground so that only her head remained over ground. Doden. Inner decapitation no jutsu, Tenchi said as he reappeared in front of Ino. Crouching down he looked her in the eye and sighed. I don't think you understood the meaning of this exercise. He said and Ino glared at him. What do you mean? She asked angrily. Tenchi smirked. Not telling you. He said smugly and Ino glared before she pouted and refused to look at him. Shaking his head, Tenchi stood up and vanished. Just as he did, Naruto and Sakura came to the rescue. Ino, we have to work together to do this. Sakura said and while she and Naruto helped Ino out and explained everything to her, including Naruto's resent memory return, Tenchi was right next to them, undetected and under a invisibility jutsu. He smiled when he heard that Sakura had understood the meaning right away, almost chuckled when Naruto told them about his games with the 3 caretakers of his when he was younger. The 3 caretakers being Tenchi, Rin and Kakashi, or as Naruto called him, Arrow Kakashi. Pervert Kakashi I think. Well, this will be interesting. Let's see how they take this. Tenchi thought, unsheathed his katana and dropped the jutsu. I've got you now, he yelled. The 3 genin whirled around to see him with raised katana, ready to strike. Naruto and Sakura froze, but Ino reacted instinctively and threw 3 shuriken at Tenchi. They hit him and a cloud of smoke and a poof later they saw he had used kawarimi. Damn, he scared me. Sakura said silently and Naruto nodded. He looked at his hand and shook it. Didn't think I would freeze like that on my first encounter with a dangerous situation. He said and the girls could hear he was angry at himself. Ino laid a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto, if you want to be helpful, you have to promise yourself not to freeze like that again. Or else I am going to kick your. She said and Naruto looked at her with fear in his eyes. Damn, she's scary. He thought before nodding. I won't freeze like that again. He said and Ino nodded, grinning broadly. Now let's get those bells. Sakura said and the 3 of them nodded at each other. Meanwhile, Tenchi was watching his students closely, again. This time he was in a tree, uncamouflaged and was just waiting to be found. After a while of watching the kids plan, he looked up at the sky, or rather, the sun and calculated that 1 hour had went past. Time flies and all that. I guess that's 1 bell down then. He thought, took out one of the bells and crushed it silently. No need to tell the kids that they had 4 hours left. Let them figure it out themselves. It was then he noticed that something was off with Naruto, Sakura and Ino. They looked tense. His eyes widened when he felt movement below him. Oh shit, he said and jumped from the tree. When he landed, The tree was engulfed in an explosion, probably from exploding tags. He looked around, but didn't see either of his students. Now where did they go? He said to himself and looked around again. Sakura had gotten an idea after seeing Tenchi in a tree. She made Naruto prepare to use Kage Bunshin and henge when Tenchi looked away. It took a while, but finally Tenchi looked up to the sky and Naruto went into action. 3 puffs of smoke later and the fake Naruto, Sakura and Ino stood there, and the real ones rushed around the tree Tenchi sat in. They placed exploding tags on the tree and rushed away. They heard an, "Oh shit," and the explosion went off. They hid in some bushes after that, looking at their sensei, who looked a little singed. "We have to do this fast. Tenchi-asen isn't serious yet, but he will be soon. We have to get those bells now." Naruto whispered and Sakura nodded. "Hi, I agree. Uncle's eyes aren't even blue yet. Any ideas?" Sakura asked but Naruto shook his head. Ino grinned and turned to the other two. "Hey, I have one. Naruto and Forehead Girl, you two occupy Tenchi-sensei while I prepare my Shintenshin no Jutsu. If I get him with that, I can give you two the bells and we will pee." Ino said excitedly. Sakura glared at the nickname, but nodded anyway. "Okay, let's go," Naruto said and he and Sakura moved towards Tenchi. Tenchi was still looking around. Suddenly he found 2 of his students. Naruto and Sakura were rushing towards him. Both were using either Kage Bunshin Naruto or Bunshin Sakura. 5 Narutos and 5 Sakuras, Naruto slightly in front of Sakura. Tenchi decided to see what they had planned, and blocked Naruto's attacks. The 5 Narutos came in waves after each other, 2 of them landing punches and kicks on Tenchi. He was about to block another of Naruto's attacks when he saw Sakura. All 5 of her had her fist raised and right before she reached him, 4 of the Sakuras poofed away and a rather painful hit was landed. Tenchi flew back a little, while wondering when Sakura became so strong. He got up and was about to ask something when he felt something enter his body and he discovered he didn't have any control over his body. He soon figured what happened when Ino's voice came out of his mouth. "Success. Take that, Forehead Girl. Now Sasuke-kun will have to recognize my greatness." Ino cheered and Tenchi mentally rolled his eyes. Sakura just huffed and held out her hand. "Just give us the bells so we can pee this ting Ino pig," she said and Ino glared before handing over the remaining 4 bells to Sakura. After that she left Tenchi's body and returned to her own. Tenchi groaned as he regained control of his body before he looked at his students. All of them wore huge grins and 1 bell each. Well, Sakura had 2. Tenchi smiled before beginning to clap. "Very good. Excellent teamwork. To trap me like that, really excellent. I expect the same kind of teamwork from the 3 of you on missions as well," Tenchi said and the 3 genin beamed with pride. "Now if you excuse me, I have to report to Hokage-sama about how everything went. See you," Tenchi said and faded out like a mirage. The 3 genin stared a bit at where he had been moments before, until they turned around and started walking back to the village. Suddenly Tenchi reappeared in front of Ino, making said girl jump with a squeak. "I forgot to tell you to meet me at this training ground at 8 in the morning. See you," Tenchi said and vanished again, completely ignoring Ino, who was clutching her chest, gasping for breath while Sakura and Naruto howled with laughter at Ino's expression. Her response was to pout and walk away, vowing to get back at her sensei. The next day, Team 7 met at the training ground. Tenchi was waiting for the 3 of them with 3 bags. When Naruto, Sakura and Ino stood in front of him, he smiled before throwing one of the bags to Naruto. Naruto caught it and was instantly floored by it. The process repeated itself until Sakura and Ino also lay on the ground, their hands around their own, very heavy bag. "In those bags you will find weights. Put those on," Tenchi said while smiling at his students. They glared at him but did as he said. The weights didn't seem much, just like ordinary wristbands and leg warmers, all in black with a white wolf on them. "That white wolf is my insignia," My clan's symbol. It's on your weights because these weights were made by my family. Right now they each weigh 20 pounds. That will really slow you down. As you three grow stronger, you will have to pump chakra into the weights, increasing their weight. That will serve three purposes. The first is to make you stronger and faster. The second is to increase your chakra capacity. The third is to increase your chakra control. Why do we need chakra control? We can already do jutsus. Naruto said, having put on his weights and was now in a slouched over position, trying to deal with the weight. Right now, when you use jutsus you waste a lot of chakra. That can be deadly in a battle. Sometimes it is the ninja with the best control and stamina that wins the battle. Understand, Naruto, that even if you have huge chakra capacity, it is not infinite. If you continue to waste chakra while doing jutsus, you will never be able to become a good ninja. Also, the better control you have, the easier it is to do jutsus. Now stop complaining and get moving. I want you three to run 40 laps around this training area while punching the air in front of you. Tenchi commanded. Naruto groaned but began to run. Ino and Sakura, however, didn't. They glared at Tenchi. It's too heavy. We can't move, Sakura said, and Ino nodded. How am I supposed to run with 80 extra pounds on my body? Ino asked, and Tenchi sighed. Naruto, listen to this as well. Tenchi yelled, and Naruto came walking over, slowly. Use chakra to make your body stronger. Put chakra in your back to be able to stand straight. Put chakra in your legs to be able to run, and put chakra in your arms to be able to punch the air in front of you. Now get moving. We are not leaving until you three have done this. Tenchi said, and the three genin groaned before using the ram seal and gather chakra to the body parts Tenchi spoke of. They then started to do the exercise. Tenchi saw that Sakura was the one with best control, since she kept her chakra where she wanted it. Sakura was running a little awkward, but getting better. She also was trying to punch the air in front of her. Ino was close behind. She had less control, but apparently she was stronger than Sakura, pure physically at least. The two of them did surprisingly good for their first try. Tenchi smiled when he thought about how strong they would become. Then he looked at Naruto and groaned. Naruto had horrible chakra control, and was using almost no chakra to move. Still, he was actually moving better than both Sakura and Ino, indicating that he was a lot stronger than them. He actually managed to run straight and punch the air in front of him, but Tenchi saw that he was getting tired. Real tired. Deciding to boost their spirit, Tenchi pumped chakra into his own weights and ran next to them, mimicking their exercise. This continued for 3 hours. All three of the genin was dead tired and had a lot of bruises and cuts on them from falling so many times. Surprisingly, it was Naruto that had become accustomed to the weights first, even if he didn't use chakra to move. After him Sakura followed, and then Ino. They now moved much better, although not like they would without the weights. Man, how long until we don't feel the weights anymore? Naruto moaned, and Tenchi chuckled. I estimate 3 days of this until you three will be able to move normally. But you have showed real good improvement and adaptation to the weights. But Naruto, I think you should try using chakra to move. Tenchi said, and both Ino and Sakura stared at Naruto, who blinked a little. I wasn't using chakra, he just asked, and Tenchi, Sakura and Ino sweat dropped. No you weren't. But sit down and rest for a bit now. I would suggest going to sleep a bit, since the body rests best when asleep. Tenchi said, and the three genin nodded reluctantly before laying down under some trees. Tenchi sat down in a meditative stance and calmed himself. His senses stretched out, making him feel like he was part of the very nature around him. The sounds and smells were nice for him, the life was soothing. He was completely aware of what happened around him, from the steady, even breath of his students, to the singing of some birds in the trees, to the burrowing of a mole under the ground. After a while, Naruto stirred and sat up, rubbing his eyes. He looked around and saw Tenchi still meditating. Naruto groaned as he got up and walked over to Tenchi, who didn't move the slightest. Naruto sat down in front of his sensei and sighed. What is it, Naruto? Tenchi asked curiously. I want to learn better chakra control. Naruto replied, and a smile crossed Tenchi's face. Alright then, I'll teach you. First mimic my position, he said, and Naruto complied. This is called the lotus position, and is used while meditating. I'm not going to teach you that yet. What I want you to do is mold your chakra and make it cover your entire body. Tenchi said, and Naruto stared at him. What? Naruto asked. He didn't have a clue what Tenchi meant. Okay. Listen well. Imagine your chakra to be like your bed sheet. You are hanging upside down from the roof and are cold. You want to use your bed sheet to keep warm, but the bed sheet slips of your body and onto the ground. In order to keep warm, you have to keep the bed sheet on your body. It is the same with chakra. When you want to use chakra to make your feet stronger, you have to keep the chakra in your feet. What I meant by cover your body with chakra is that I meant you should have your chakra everywhere in your body at the same time. Watch. Tenchi said, and suddenly the top of his head glowed blue. The blue spread downwards from the head, but didn't dissipate. After a few minutes, Tenchi's whole body was glowing and Naruto was staring. Then the glow disappeared. That is what I want you to do now, Naruto. Begin with your head. Make your chakra move to your head and cover the head. Then start to make your chakra cover more of your body until all of your body is glowing like mine did. To do so, you have to make the chakra stick to your body. It will take some tries, but I am confident you can make it work. Now let me tell you the benefits of this exercise. First, your control improves significantly. Second, your chakra will rejuvenate your cells, taking away the strain your training has put them under. That will make your muscles heal and you will be refreshed. You could call this a healing exercise, since in a way you are healing your entire body. This exercise was developed by a great medic called Tsunade. She uses it every day to stay young. Now, begin, Tenchi said, and Naruto nodded. He wondered briefly how Tenchi was able to see him with his eyes closed, but shrugged it off and started making his chakra cover his head. It was hard work, and his brow was furrowed in concentration. Naruto was starting to become pissed off. Half an hour had passed and he hadn't been able to make his chakra cover more than his face before dissipating. Tenchi could sense what was wrong. It had to do with the bastard fox. Naruto, I want to try something. Tenchi said. Naruto was about to ask what when he saw Tenchi clasp his hand over his face. Naruto tried to get away, but then everything went black. When Naruto became conscious again, he found himself in a dank hallway with lots of pipes on the ceiling. He was also ankle deep in water. Looking around, he found Tenchi. Damn it! What did you do to me, Tenchi-san? Naruto yelled, shaking his fist at the man. I took you into your mind. We are going to see the bastard fox now. Tenchi replied, and Naruto fell silent. You mean go see him? He asked, and Tenchi nodded before beginning to walk. I noticed that the reason you couldn't control your chakra well was because Kyuubi's chakra would battle your own. We are here to fix that. Tenchi said, and Naruto hurried after. They walked in silence for a while until they came to a huge room with a cage in it. The cage had a seal on it where it simply stood, seal. Naruto walked towards the gates. He could see something behind it. Then suddenly claws shoot out of the bars, but Tenchi got Naruto out of the way. Naruto was pissed. Damn you bastard fox. Is that a way to treat your visitors? Naruto yelled. Kyuubi came closer to the cage and looked down on the two. Its eyes burned when he saw Tenchi. Why are you here? Come to gloat? Kyuubi asked Tenchi, who shook his head. No, I am here to make you a deal. Tenchi said, and both Naruto and Kyuubi looked at him. What deal? What deal? They both asked in perfect unison. Your chakra is battling against Naruto's. I know you are responsible for that. Stop that and allow Naruto to get control over his chakra without you interfering. Also, when he needs it, give him chakra, but don't try to take over his mind. I will detect it, and believe me, I can make some unpleasant changes to that cage of yours. Tenchi said, and Kyuubi roared with laughter. Why should I help a brat like that? Why should I do what you say? Kyuubi asked, and Naruto became pissed. Damn fox. I let you live inside my body, and you don't even pay rent. Instead of rent, I want you to do what Tenchi-san said. Naruto demanded. A few moments went past before Kyuubi was rolling around on the floor of his cage, howling with laughter. Tenchi-san, that was good, kid. Do you have other names I should know about, Wolf? Kyuubi asked Tenchi, who huffed a little. Sakura calls me Uncle Tenchi. And shut up, he yelled when Kyuubi roared with laughter. After a little while, Kyuubi calmed down from laughter to snickers. Oh, that was good. All right, brat, I will do as Wolf says, on one condition. Kyuubi demanded. What condition? I'm not letting you loose if that's what you want. Naruto asked, and Kyuubi rolled his eyes. I already knew that. I want to be able to talk to you. It gets terribly lonely here, and even demons want to talk to others. Also, I want you two to sign my summoning scroll. Kyuubi explained, and Naruto looked thoughtful. You mean I'm going to have a voice in my head all the time? He asked, and Kyuubi nodded. Naruto turned to Tenchi. What do you think? He asked, and Tenchi closed his eyes. That is up to you. If you do this, then Kyuubi can talk to you at all times. That could be a good thing, but also a bad thing. He could try to make you insane, although I think you will be able to withstand it. But that summoning scroll sounds suspicious. Tenchi said, and Naruto looked at the fox. All right, bastard fox, answer my questions and I might do as you asked. Naruto demanded. What is it, brat? Kyuubi asked. First, if I allow you inside my head, what will you do there? Naruto asked. What do you think? I will talk to you, see what you see, and hear what you hear. I can help you on missions, and if you prove yourself worthy, I can train you. As for Wolf's fear of me making you insane, you won't have to worry. If the villagers haven't already done that, then I won't either. It is of no interest of mine that my vessel becomes insane. Neither is it that it is weak. It will be like having a constant companion inside your head. Neither of us will ever be alone again. Kyuubi said, oddly serious. Naruto nodded before deciding on his second question. What's up with that summoning scroll? Will we summon you? Naruto asked, and Kyuubi nodded. Yeah, if you sign the scroll, then you can summon foxes. If you summon the fox boss, you summon me. Although I will still be connected to you, and when I would normally vanish back to the summoning plane, I will come back here. Kyuubi said, and Naruto looked at Tenchi. Is that alright? Naruto asked, and Tenchi nodded. I see no problems with that, as long as Kyuubi does what we say when we summon him. You will do that, right? Tenchi asked, and Kyuubi nodded, although he didn't look too happy. Of course, after all, I am a fox, and we never go back on our word. If I say I will allow you to summon me, I will allow you to summon me, and I won't attack you. At least I know that you two can summon me when you have signed the scroll. The last person to summon me was not someone I approved of. But I couldn't go against what he ordered me to do. Kyuubi said, a little sadness crossing his features. What are you talking about? Tenchi asked, and Kyuubi looked at him. When I attacked Konoha, I had been summoned by someone in a black cloak with red clouds on. He told me to attack Konoha, and since he was my summoner, I had to do it. Although I made sure he could never summon me again. Kyuubi said, and both Naruto and Tenchi were really surprised. You didn't attack out of your own will? Tenchi asked, and Kyuubi shook his head. No, I didn't. But don't get the wrong idea. I enjoyed killing all those ninjas, once the bloodlust got the better of me. Kyuubi said, and Tenchi stared at him. Naruto seemed to make up his mind. Tenchi-san, did you see if Kyuubi lied? Naruto asked, and Tenchi shook his head. No, he didn't lie. He told the truth, if I ever saw it. Tenchi said, and Naruto nodded before walking up to the cage. Alright, fussball. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you. Naruto said, and held out his hand towards Kyuubi, who stared at him before extending one of his paws. Naruto grasped one of Kyuubi's claws and a very bizarre version of shake hands occurred. I am Kyuubi no Kitsune, greatest of the demons. Nice to meet you too, brat. Kyuubi said, and Naruto glared a little before turning to Tenchi. Tenchi-san, I agree to all of Kyuubi's terms. Can you make the changes? He asked, and Tenchi nodded. Kyuubi turned a little away before turning back and placing a scroll at Naruto's feet. The summoning scroll. Sign your name in blood. Kyuubi commanded. Both Naruto and Tenchi did so. When they were finished, the scroll vanished. I will teach you summoning after you master the chakra exercise, Naruto. Now for the last part of the deal. Tenchi said and turned to the seal. He did something and both Naruto and Kyuubi felt a little weird for a moment. There. Now you two should be able to talk all the time. Tenchi said, and Naruto looked at him. How come I don't hear him in my head then? He asked, and both Tenchi and Kyuubi fell over in surprise. Because you are in your own mind now, brat. When you become conscious again, we can talk. Stupid human. Kyuubi growled. Naruto growled right back. Alright, you two. It's time we got back, Naruto. Bye, bastard fox. Tenchi said, and he and Naruto faded away. Kyuubi sighed and laid down on the ground. Alone again. At least I can talk to the brat now. Perhaps Wolf isn't so bad after all. Kyuubi said to himself before he felt weird again, and could see that Naruto had woken up. Naruto felt weird when he woke up, and could swear he felt another presence in his mind. Stupid. That's me, brat. Kyuubi said, and Naruto grinned a bit. Oh, right. I forgot. Hello, bastard fox. He said, and Kyuubi sighed. Okay. First of all, stop with the bastard fox. My parents were married when they got me, thank you very much. Also, you can talk with me by thinking. I can hear your thoughts now. It would look stupid if you were to talk to yourself all the time. Kyuubi said, and Naruto nodded. Alright. So what do I call you? Nah. I don't bother, make up something. I'll just call you Fussball then. Naruto thought with a grin. Kyuubi trashed a bit before calming down. I guess there are worse names. Now, what exercise was Wolf talking about? Kyuubi asked. I'll show you. Naruto thought and began cowering himself in chakra again. This time, however, it went much easier, and after 4 tries he got it right. Wow. Tenchi-san. I did it. Naruto yelled, and Tenchi smiled at him. Good, Naruto. Very good. Now keep the chakra over your body for a while. Tenchi said, and Naruto did as he was told. Now, let the chakra flow out, trough your feet. Tenchi said, and when he did, Naruto felt refreshed. Wow, it worked. I'm as good as new. Naruto said while getting up. Good work. Now I am going to teach you summoning. Now, summoning is a very high rank skill, so I want you to keep it as a triumph card. Don't go showing of your best moves. Always keep your best moves hidden until you really need them. Now, I am going to summon. Watch. Tenchi said, did some seals, bit his thumb and slammed his hand on the ground. Kuchio's no jutsu, Tenchi said, and a cloud of smoke covered him. When the cloud vanished, he stood on a fox the size of a horse. Who summoned me? The fox asked. I did. Tenchi said and jumped up. The fox looked at him before it bowed. I see. What is your name, summoner? It asked. My name is Tengoku Tenchi, and this is Uzumaki Naruto, who is also able to summon foxes. Tenchi said, and the fox nodded. I am Tenku. Nice to meet you. The fox, now known as Tenku, said. Well then, I just wanted to see how much chakra I should use to summon. Can you tell me how much more chakra I would need to summon Kyuubi? Tenchi asked, and Tenku thought for a bit. About twice as much, was the reply, and Tenchi nodded. Thank you for your time. Tenchi said. Tenku nodded and vanished in a poof of smoke. Tenchi turned to Naruto. Here are the seals. Tenchi said and performed the seals slowly. When you have done the seals, use your hand and some blood and perform the summoning. You always have to use blood in order to make the summoning work. Or else you will just be wasting chakra. Now you try. Tenchi said, and Naruto nodded before performing the seals, biting his thumb and slamming the hand down into the ground. Kuchio's no jutsu. Naruto yelled and a cloud of smoke came. There sat a little fox kit. It meowed at Naruto and curled up on his lap. Naruto was a little embered that he didn't summon a bigger fox. Kyuubi was roaring with laughter in his mind. Tenchi, however, was happy. Good work, Naruto. That was your first summoning. Good work. I want you to summon again. Use more chakra. The more chakra and better molded, the bigger and stronger fox appears. But don't think that kit isn't useful. Smaller summons can be used for scouting, bringing messages and stuff like that. The bigger ones are useful for fighting, but as a ninja we should never aim to fight. Remember, Naruto, a good ninja is undetected and will only fight when absolutely necessary. Now practice your summon for a while, okay? Tenchi asked and Naruto nodded before getting up and summon another fox. Ino and Sakura awoke to hear someone practicing a jutsu. They saw Naruto do something, but before they could see what it was, Tenchi sat down in front of them. Naruto is practicing a jutsu I taught him. Now I am going to teach you something. He said and began to teach them the chakra control exercise he taught Naruto. Both Ino and Sakura got the exercise on their third or fourth try, much faster than Naruto. When they had perfected the exercise they were both very happy. Tenchi was amazed that they got it that fast. Wow, you two have talent. It took Naruto much longer to do that. Now over to something different. I don't know which jutsu to teach you two yet. In my opinion you both have too small chakra reserves. While I check on Naruto, I want you two to do 30 push-ups, 30 squats, 30 sit-ups, punch those logs 30 times with each arm and kick the logs 30 times with each leg. Get moving please. Tenchi said and the two girls groaned but complied while Tenchi went over to Naruto. Naruto was tired. More tired than he had ever been. Not only were the weights making it difficult for him to move, but the chakra used to summon a decent fox was huge. Naruto was currently laying on the ground, trying to regain his breath. You did good, kid. I'm actually impressed. At this speed you will master summoning in about a week. Faster if Wolf helps you. Kyuubi praised and Naruto noticed something. Why do you always call Tenchi Asen for Wolf? Naruto asked. Kyuubi chuckled in response. Because he is a wolf. He can summon wolves as his natural summon. And he almost turns into a wolf when he fights. Also he is called that by you humans as well. Kyuubi replied. Natural summon? What do you mean? Naruto asked. Natural summon is the summoning that takes the least amount of chakra from the summoner, and also comes much easier. You fight better together with your natural summon than others. Wolf's natural summon is the wolves. Your natural summon is foxes. Why Wolf's natural summons are wolves I don't know, probably because of his abilities. The reason foxes are your natural summons is because of me. Now, do you have any more questions, Kit? Kyuubi asked. Just one. What's up with the kit? Naruto asked, but all he received was a chuckle. Then Naruto noticed Tenchi looking at him. Well, Naruto, seems you have exhausted yourself. Do you now understand why you need more chakra control? Tenchi asked and Naruto nodded. I summoned a fox that was just as big as a wolf. But now I don't have any chakra left. How do I get more control? Naruto asked. First you have to sleep for a bit so your chakra recovers. Kyuubi, can you heal him while he sleeps? Tenchi asked and Naruto looked at Tenchi in surprise. You can hear him? He asked and Tenchi nodded. Yes, I can, since I now have established a connection with him. I did so when I signed the contract. That connects me to any fox summon close to me, and when Kyuubi is close enough I can hear him slightly. I have to be close though. Like now, Tenchi explained. To answer your question, Wolf, yes, I will heal the kid when he goes to sleep. But I doubt he wants to sleep right now. Perhaps you should knock him out. Kyuubi said and Naruto stiffened while Tenchi nodded. Tenchi then disappeared and reappeared behind Naruto, who instantly fell asleep. Tenchi then went to see his other two students. Sakura and Ino were still doing the exercises when Tenchi walked over. He looked at the two girls currently doing sit-ups and shrugged. Sitting down and beginning to meditate, Tenchi made sure he could feel Naruto, Sakura and Ino, and also what they were doing. Calm spread over his mind again and both Ino and Sakura stopped for a minute. They looked at Tenchi and saw how his shoulders relaxed, like a huge weight was lifted from them. Get back to work, Tenchi said. Ino and Sakura said and continued. If Tenchi had been awake, he would have smiled. But since he was deep in his meditative state, he remained motionless. When the two girls eventually finished their exercises, they were very tired and couldn't stay on their feet, so they fell down and lay on the ground, panting. Tenchi then woke up from his meditative state and got up. Crouching down next to them, he placed a hand on their chests. Ino reacted instantly. Hey, get away, pervert. She screamed, but one look at Tenchi's face shut her up. I'm not a pervert. If you calm down, I could do what I was going to do. Tenchi said sternly, and a green glow surrounded his hands and went into the girls' chests. They could feel the green glow flowing around their hearts first, then their lungs, and from there the glow spread throughout their body. Then as suddenly as it started, the glow vanished and Tenchi removed his hands and took a step back. There. Feeling better? He asked, although he didn't sound very pleased. Who would be after getting called pervert by your students? Yes, thank you, Sakura said. Ino blushed and mumbled an apology. Don't think about it. Now that you two have worked a bit on your strength, I think it's time to wake up Naruto. Tenchi said. Naruto's asleep. Ino and Sakura shouted. He worked hard on a very draining technique. A technique you two still don't have the chakra capacity to do. When I feel your chakra has grown enough, I will teach you that technique as well. Now quit complaining and let's go wake up sleepyhead. Tenchi said, and the girls nodded. They got up, although Sakura and Ino were a bit sore from their training. When they reached Naruto, Tenchi crouched down and the same green glow surrounded his hand which he laid on Naruto's head. After a while Naruto's eyes flew up and he tried to sit up, but Tenchi held him down. After making sure Naruto was okay, Tenchi helped him stand. Are you okay now, Naruto? Tenchi asked and Naruto nodded slowly. I feel a bit tired, but not so much as I was a bit ago. He said and Tenchi nodded. Alright, follow me. He said and walked over to some tall trees. Once they were all gathered around one of the trees, Tenchi looked at them before walking up the tree. Vertically. Naruto, Sakura and Ino gasped while Tenchi walked up and down the tree a couple of times. On his third time to walk up, he stopped upside down under a branch. There he looked at his students and smiled genuinely at them. Now you three are going to learn to do what I just did. This is a chakra control exercise. What you do is form chakra under your feet and make the chakra stick to the surface you want to climb. In this example, the tree. But you can also use it to climb walls. It is useful when sneaking around. Now, to be able to do this, you have to have a very good control. Too little chakra and you fall off. Too much chakra and you get blown away from the tree. Take a kunai and mark where you get. Then try and push further than that. It would be best for you to try and run at first. Tenchi said, still smiling. Both Naruto and Sakura took out a kunai each, but Ino looked up at Tenchi. Should we take of our weights? She asked, but Tenchi shook his head. No. Listen closely, you three. The only time you are to remove those weights is either if I tell you, or if there is no other way to win a fight or accomplish a mission. If you keep the weights on all the time, your speed, strength and stamina will increase much more than you thought possible. Now stop staring and get to work. Tenchi commanded. Ino whipped out a kunai and the three of them ran to the trees and started running upwards. Naruto made it 5 steps before falling down and hurting his head. Tenchi stared with a half amused, half disappointed look on his face as Naruto rolled on the ground while holding his head. Sakura and Ino on the other hand did much better. Ino was the first to lose her grip and slashed her tree about halfway to the top. Sakura made it 5 steps higher than Ino before she too lost her grip. When they landed, they looked at the tree and grinned. That wasn't so bad. Much easier than I thought. Sakura said and Ino nodded in agreement. Naruto glared at them, making them grin even wider. Well, by nature women have better chakra control than men. Also they have less chakra, so those two probably are connected. Tenchi said and Ino looked at him while crossing her arms. What do you mean? She asked and Tenchi sighed. Men are generally stronger than women, and thus men's bodies produce more chakra than women's. To be able to keep up, women have better control, both over their bodies and their chakra. Also women are generally smarter than men, so they learn faster. That means Naruto has to work harder to do this than Ino and Sakura. Now, I don't think either of you have managed to get this right, have you? Tenchi said, smiling in a way that seemed really sadistically. The 3 genin gulped before continuing the exercise. This time Naruto managed 10 steps before falling, while both Ino and Sakura got 2 steps more than before. This slow improvement continued for a while. Sakura collapsed after 5 tries. She had almost reached the top by then. Ino managed 1 go after Sakura collapsed before she was out of chakra as well. Naruto wasn't far behind, and even though he hadn't been able to reach as high as Sakura or Ino, Naruto's improvement was huge. On his 7th try Naruto reached the same height Sakura had on her 2nd, which was a very good development. Seeing his students were unable to continue, Tenchi allowed himself to drop from under the branch into the ground. Walking up to the 3 genin, he practically beamed at them. I'm proud of you 3. Good work today. Now I think it's time to go home. Meet here at the same time tomorrow. Get some food before going to sleep when you get home. We will be training just as hard each day, on top of missions. Tenchi said and made 2 Kage Bunshin appear. One lifted Ino and another lifted Naruto. The original Tenchi lifted Sakura. Nodding to each other they vanished. Ino and one of the Tenchi clones appeared in front of Ino's home, also known as the Yamanaka flower shop. Carrying her inside, he looked around to see if someone was there. A blonde woman, Tenchi identified her as Ino's mother, sat behind the counter. Hello, I am your daughter Sensei. I'm just here to make sure she got home safely. She's a bit tired and needs some food before going to bed. Tenchi said to the woman, who just stared. A Jonin had just walked into her shop, carrying a sleeping Ino. Hey Inoshi, get you butt out her and take care of your daughter. Ino's mother yelled after shaking of her surprise. Ino's father came running into the shop and instantly recognized Tenchi. Tengoku-san, it's nice to see you again. Inoshi said before he noticed Ino sleeping. What happened to Ino? He asked and Tenchi smiled worryingly. Don't worry, she's just exhausted from training. She will be fine with some food and rest. He said and Inoshi nodded. Tenchi handed Ino over and Inoshi nearly fell over by the sudden weight. What the? Wait, you aren't making her wear weights, are you? Inoshi asked and Tenchi nodded. How much weight does she have on? Ino's mother asked. 80 pounds. Tenchi answered and Ino's mother fainted. Luckily she fell on her counter. 80 pounds. Isn't that a bit much? She's just a kid. Inoshi asked, a little hesitantly. I know, and I was a little skeptical to whether or not I should let them wear that much weight, but they seem to adjust just fine. I am guessing Ino will use about a week until she is completely adjusted, which speaks to me of much talent. Your daughter is going to be a strong kunoichi someday. Tenchi said and Inoshi looked at his daughter with pride blazing in his eyes. Well, I have to leave. I suppose you know what Ino needs now, so I'll be off then. Tenchi said and vanished in a puff of smoke. My daughter, one of the strongest kunoichi ever. That sounds nice actually. Inoshi thought before heading towards the kitchen to make Ino some food. Tenchi reappeared in Naruto's apartment and wasn't surprised when he found that someone had broken into it, thrashing the place. Making a quick decision, he vanished and reappeared in his own apartment. There he put Naruto down by his kitchen table, made some instant ramen and woke up Naruto. Clearly only half awake, Naruto ate the ramen and instantly fell asleep when he was finished. Chuckling slightly, Tenchi lifted him up and carried him to the guest bed. After that, he wrote a note to Naruto and vanished. On the note stood, Naruto, you are in my apartment. I brought you here because yours was thrashed. Spend the night, and we'll talk in the morning. Tenchi. The original Tenchi carried Sakura home. Just as Naruto and Ino, Sakura fell asleep right away, snuggling up to Tenchi's warm chest. When they arrived at the Haruno house, Tenchi knocked and Rin opened. Oh, Tenchi. You are a bit early, what happened to Sakura? Rin asked, clearly caught off guard. She's just exhausted. Some food and sleep will fix her right up. Tenchi replied and Rin nodded before turning around and walking straight into the kitchen. Tenchi followed after disposing of his shoes and Sakura's. In the kitchen he gently placed Sakura in one of the dining chairs and woke her up. Huh, what? Where am I? Sakura asked, a little groggy. Home. Rin is making you some food and then you are going straight to bed, young lady. Tenchi said with a huge grin on his face. Hey, you can't order me around when I'm off duty. Sakura scolded. Not as your sensei, no. But as your uncle, yes. Tenchi said and his grin widened even more when Sakura pouted. Rin laughed while placing some food in front of Sakura. This isn't what I was planning to make for tonight, but since you uncle says you have to go to bed soon, I had to make this for you. Rin said and laughed at Sakura when she gave her a look that said, don't give him more ideas. Sakura finished the miso soup and ohagiri that Rin had made her before standing up, although a bit wobbly. She then gave Rin and Tenchi a hug each and headed for bed. She's really tired. What did you make her do? Rin asked when she came back to the kitchen after following Sakura and making sure she didn't fall asleep in the shower, which she probably did. Oh, not much. I gave them some weights and made them run 40 laps around the training area. Then I let them sleep for a while, but Naruto woke up so I taught him a chakra control exercise which I taught to Ino and Sakura when they woke up. It is the exercise where you cover your body with chakra. Tenchi said. Ah, the refreshing technique. Rin said and Tenchi nodded. How much weight did you give them? Rin asked. 80 pounds. Tenchi simply answered. Don't worry. They did great. At the end of the week they will be moving like they did before the weights with no problem. Tenchi reared Rin when he saw her glare. Naruto had some problem with the technique and I felt that it was the Kyuubi's chakra that battled against his own, so I took him into his mindscape and to see the bastard fox. There we negotiated a deal. It seems the fox wasn't as bad as we thought. From what it told me, it was summoned into our world by someone from the Akatsuki and sent to destroy Konoha. The deal was that Kyuubi stopped fighting against Naruto's chakra and that he give Naruto chakra when needed. The conditions were that Kyuubi be allowed to talk to Naruto in his mind, and that I and Naruto sign a summoning contract for foxes, which we did. Tenchi said and Rin looked dazed. You actually talked to Kyuubi. Wow, she just said. Tenchi ignored her and continued. When we came out of Naruto's mind, he did the technique and didn't have any problems with Kyuubi's chakra. Then I taught him how to summon and tried out the new summoning as well. Tenchi said. How was it to summon a fox? Rin asked. More taxing than a wolf, but doesn't surprise me. Tenchi replied and Rin nodded. They are your natural summons after all. She said while trying to look really smart. She succeeded. Hi, but foxes are Naruto's natural summon. But not surprisingly he had some trouble with it. But with more control and practice, he should be able to summon without a problem. While Naruto was practicing summoning, Ino and Sakura woke. I taught them the refreshing technique, which they mastered much faster than Naruto, and then I had them do some physical exercises to build strength and chakra. Neither Sakura nor Ino has much chakra, so I have to work hard with them on that. Naruto fell asleep again, but when he woke up, I had them do tree climbing. No one of them reached the top, but you should have seen Naruto's growth. At first he could only take 5 steps before falling, while Sakura made it halfway up the tree. But on the final run, Naruto had come just as high as Sakura was on her second try. That's amazing, Tenchi said, feeling real proud of his student. Yes, it is. But we already knew he was amazing, so that's no surprise. But did you really have to push them so hard on their first day? Rin asked. Well, I'm not going to be an easy sensei. These kids are going to grow to be incredible, Rin. We can't cuddle them, or lead them. I have requested to Hokage-sama that Team 7 doesn't do any missions on this first week, since I am going to whip them into shape. When this week is over, they will have to do missions on top of my training. That is really going to be tough. Tenchi explained, crossing his arms and looking sternly at Rin, who nodded slowly. Alright, just don't kill them. And make sure they don't follow in your footsteps. Rin warned, and Tenchi saddened. I know, but I don't know how to. I never was a kid, so to speak. I never learned how it is to be a normal kid, so I wouldn't know. I was planning on asking you to help me with that. Tenchi said sadly, and Rin nodded. Sure thing, little brother. I'll help. Now should we go out for dinner, since Sakura is sleeping? She asked, and Tenchi nodded. Rin and Tenchi were walking towards Ichiraku Ramen, chatting happily. So now Jiraiya has a couple dozen scars on his back. Tenchi finished, and Rin laughed. I can't believe he would actually use henge to peek at women. It probably would have worked if that kunoichi hadn't been there. Rin said, and both of them laughed a bit more. Far away, a certain white-haired man sneezed and alerted the women he was peeping on to his presence. Oh no, was all he managed to say before getting beat into the ground. Back in Konoha, Rin and Tenchi had reached Ichiraku and had just sat down. One miso ramen please, Tenchi ordered. One vegetarian ramen, Rin ordered, and when Tenchi looked at her she raised an eyebrow. What? She asked, but he just shrugged. So, what have you been doing while I was gone? Tenchi asked. Oh, just the usual. I'm working as a medical nin, so I work at the hospital most of the times, but I get sent on some missions as well. Raising Sakura has been a challenge since Kashu died, but we have supported each other. Sakura missed you terribly, by the way. When she realized you were her sensei, I could see the joy on her face. Rin said, and Tenchi saddened a bit. I know. I missed her as well, but the mission became a bit more complicated than I thought. Tenchi said, and Rin looked puzzled. What do you mean? Wasn't the mission that you search for Naruto's family? Rin asked, and Tenchi nodded. It was in the beginning, but seriously. Did you think it would take me 6 years to travel the world and search like that? The mission was a failure after 3 years. Tenchi said, and finished his food. Rin turned and glared at him. Then why didn't you come back right away? Your absence really made things difficult and sad here. Not just for Sakura and Naruto, but for me and Kakashi, Sandaime, and all our friends. Rin scolded, and Tenchi closed his eyes. I know, but I found out something that I had to investigate. When I was in Earth Country, I found out about an organization named Akatsuki. It is made up of S-rank missing nins from all over the shinobi lands. Uchiha Itachi is part of that group. I wondered what that organization wanted, so I started collecting info on them. Tenchi said, and drank a little water. Yeah, and? Rin asked, clearly getting impatient. I wasn't able to learn their true goal, but I know this much, Tenchi said, and looked square in Rin's eyes. They want the 9-tailed demons. He said, and she gasped. When he turned back, Rin could see how worried Tenchi was. This organization was strong. Why, I can only speculate. Jiraiya is gathering more information now. But that is why it took me 6 years to come back. And that is why I am going to push Naruto, Sakura, and Ino past their limits. When Akatsuki decides to go after Naruto, he has to be prepared for the worst. Tenchi said, and drained his GL. Rin gulped a little and grabbed Tenchi's shoulder. Just, how strong is that organization? She asked. Itachi is the third or second strongest member. They are made up of 7 members, as far as I know at least, but they have several minions. The leader, he intercepted me once. Luckily I was in disguise, so he doesn't know who I am, but he fought against me, and I tell you, he was a monster. I barely got away without releasing my mask. He was insanely fast. If I didn't know better, I would say he used Shunshin. Tenchi said, and the color on Rin's face drained. She opened her mouth to say something, but nothing came out. She looked like a fish out of the water. But I wouldn't worry too much. From what Jiraiya and I found out, they won't move for at least half a year. In that time, I intend to train myself and my team to the extreme. Tenchi said, and Rin got back her determined look. Me too, she said, and Tenchi looked at her. Huh? He asked. I'll train with you too. It will do us both good to train together again. Perhaps we should get Kakashi as well. Rin said, and Tenchi nodded. You're right, we should. But I'm tired of worrying about Akatsuki now. Let's talk about something else, okay? Tenchi said, and Rin nodded while smiling. So, how exactly did Jiraiya survive peeping on Tsunade? Rin asked, and Tenchi broke down laughing. Shizune healed him, although very reluctantly. The next day Jiraiya told me he had a dream about Shizune, and she heard him. She scared me, that's for sure. She can hit almost as hard as Tsunade. Can all medics hit with superhuman strength? Tenchi asked, and Rin nodded while grinning evilly at him. Tenchi gulped and tried to ignore the uneasy feeling he got in his stomach. The next day started with a bang. Or rather, a thud, as Naruto lost his grip on the tree and fell smack into the ground. Groaning, he got up and tried again. And again. And again. Tenchi was looking at his only male student with something akin to pride over Naruto's determination. Wolf, why isn't the kid managing to do this? Kyuubi asked. Because he has way too much chakra compared to his body size and strength. That makes it difficult to control, but if you haven't noticed, he has shown MIV improvement. I mean, yesterday he didn't know how to summon, he didn't know how to use chakra to make himself stronger, or to relax himself. Yesterday he had never spoken with you or how to walk on vertical surfaces. Now look at him. I estimate that he will be at the top in about 3 hours. Tenchi replied to the fox, and he mentally nodded. What about the 2 girls? That have better control, but neither have reached the top yet. Kyuubi pointed out. It was true, both Ino and Sakura had come to a stop in their improvement about 1.5 meters from the top. Tenchi knew why though. That is not because of lacking control, but rather lacking chakra. Both Sakura and Ino have impressive control now, they hardly waste any chakra at all. But their chakra reserves are too small to reach the top. If they took of their weights, then they would no doubt reach the top right away. But I won't allow that. I will let them try one more time before I have them doing other exercises for a while. While they do that, Naruto has to continue the control practice. Tenchi told Kyuubi, who didn't respond at first. After a while of silence, the fox sighed. Do you think they will become good at all? He asked, and Tenchi smiled. Oh yeah, they will most certainly become, as long as they focus on training and developing their skill. Tenchi replied before jumping and landing on the same tree Naruto trained on. He watched as Naruto ran past him. He saw when Naruto's control slipped and he crushed the tree under his foot. Naruto managed to mark the tree before flying towards the ground. Baka, you're going to break your neck. Kyuubi yelled in Naruto's head, making said boy panic. Luckily Tenchi caught him before making an impact on the ground. Thanks Tenchi-san. Naruto yelled when he saw Tenchi had rescued him. My pleasure. But Naruto, sit down for a moment. Tenchi ordered. Naruto complied and sat down with his legs crossed. Kyuubi, can you teach Naruto a meditative technique? Tenchi asked. Of course. What do you think I am, stupid? But why do you want him to meditate? Kyuubi replied. So he can look at his chakra. Tenchi replied. Naruto looked shocked at that. Look at my chakra. What do you mean? He asked, but Tenchi chuckled. Wait and see, was all he said before walking over to Ino and Sakura, just in time to catch Ino. Well girls, I think it's time for you two to find out what you will be doing for the next 3 days. Tenchi said while smiling at Sakura and Ino. Both looked expectant at him. Are you going to teach us a new jutsu? Ino asked eagerly, but Tenchi shook his head. Now, I'm not. I'll start with telling you why you can't reach the top of the tree. Do you know why? Tenchi asked. Too little control. Sakura asked. No, too little chakra. Tenchi said. When Sakura and Ino stared in disbelief, Tenchi chuckled. Why do you have to take a break after landing? Why does it feel so heavy to take those last steps? Why can't you push past that point? Tenchi asked and threw a kunai at the point Ino and Sakura couldn't pee. Because when you reach that point, your chakra is empty. To make chakra, you mold spirit energy and body energy. When one of the energies stops, the chakra stops. To push past that problem, you have to increase your chakra capacity. To do that, well, it's easier to show you. Tenchi said and folded up his sleeves. There were similar weights to those that Sakura and Ino wore. Tenchi did the same to his pants and showed that he wore weights there as well. As you saw, Tenchi said while hiding his weights again. I wear the same type of weights you three do. Mine weight 125 pounds now. That's 500 pounds total. I am going to show you what you two will be doing. I will probably join you for the 3 days as well, since I need training as well. But 125 is a little too light. I think'll 125 pounds on each arm and leg is too light. How strong are you really? Ino interrupted. Sakura just stared at her uncle. Wow, was all she managed. Strong. Now as I was saying, I think'll double that. Tenchi said. As he said that, his weights glowed blue and suddenly the ground under him started to crack. Then the blue glow faded, and Tenchi stood up, although both Ino and Sakura saw that it was heavy for him. There. 250 pounds each. Now, do as I do. Okay, Tenchi said. The girls nodded hesitantly and Tenchi started doing push-ups. He looked at Sakura and Ino, who were also doing push-ups. You can stop at 40. Tenchi said and continued. He did 100. Then he started with sit-ups. Again Sakura and Ino did 40, while he did 100. Then came squats. After that the three of them stood up. Tired? Tenchi asked and Ino and Sakura nodded. A bit. They said. Well, too bad, for now comes the hard part. Tenchi said and started running. Sakura and Ino followed close behind. As they ped Naruto, who was now meditation, Tenchi looked at him. Good, he has already learned to meditate. Kyuubi, after he has meditated for half an hour, get him to continue the tree climbing. Tenchi thought, all right wolf, have fun with the females. Kyuubi replied. Tenchi chose to ignore the tone the fox used. Tenchi, Sakura and Ino kept running for a while. They ran a lap around Konoha and when they came back to the training area, Sakura and Ino were exhausted. Tenchi saw that Naruto was trying to reach the top. He had improved again. Turning to the girls, Tenchi smiled. I'm proud of you too. Good work. Now before you ask, becoming stronger like this will not only increase speed, strength and stamina, but also chakra capacity. Now, please sit down in the lotus and do the refreshing technique while I go check on Naruto. Tenchi said. The girls nodded, too tired to speak and did as he said. Tenchi looked at them as they spread chakra throughout their bodies. He smiled and walked over to Naruto. After Tenchi asked Kyuubi to teach Naruto, the fox went into its own version of lecture mode. Listen Kit. When you meditate, you calm your body. There are two versions. Either you focus on nothing, or you focus on only one thing. For you it would be better to focus on one thing. Take your breathing for example. Think only of making it even and steady. Feel yourself become one with your breathing. The goal is to reach a special meditative state. When in this state, you can to a certain extent become aware of all around you, you can become aware of your own body and how it works. You feel how chakra flows and if you become really good at meditating, then you can see around you. Your sensei can do that. When he meditates, there is almost no possibility of sneaking up on him. But don't worry about that yet. Just focus on one thing and let it relax your body. Kyuubi lectured. Naruto nodded and focused on his own breathing. He tried to relax, but he couldn't. Feelings of annoyance entered his head. His body became more and more tense until Kyuubi roared in his head, almost scaring Naruto out of his good skin. Baka. I said focus on one thing. You aren't focusing enough on your breathing. Push away all other thoughts, feelings and actions. Focus only on breathing in and out. In and out. Kyuubi growled and Naruto nodded and gave it a second try. This time when the annoyance came, Naruto crushed it and focused on breathing in and out. After a few minutes Naruto felt a calmness spread over him. He thought it was something bad and increased his efforts in focusing on his breathing. Slowly, the calm went away and Kyuubi growled. Kid, you almost entered the meditative state, but cancelled it when you focused too hard on breathing. That calmness is the meditative state, the goal with all of this. Now try again, brat. Kyuubi growled. Naruto was about to retort, but thought better of it and tried again. This time the annoyance didn't come and when he felt the calm spread, he allowed it. The result was instant. Naruto felt more calm than ever. He could feel his heart beat, feel his breath, feel his blood flow. He could hear the birds sing, the leaves rustle. But he could also see something, even though his eyes were closed. Something blue moving around his body. Also sometimes he would see some red accompany the blue. The blue is your chakra. The red is my chakra. And before you wonder, no, the two chakras aren't fighting, instead they are mixing. That is what gives you the fast healing you have. That is why you can work so hard without feeling the after effects to the same extent your teammates will. The reason Wolf wanted you to learn to meditate was so that you would see this. See how your chakra flows around your body. When you use a jutsu, your chakra moves in a specific pattern. This pattern is what makes the jutsu work. The same goes for when you use chakra for other things as well. For example, do the refreshing technique and see. Kyuubi instructed. Naruto formed the seal for the ram and was amazed when he saw how the chakra first moved when he formed the seal and then how it flowed around his body. Now focus your chakra in your feet, kit. See how it is. Kyuubi said. Even if he didn't tell Naruto, he was impressed. To be able to hold the meditative state so easily so fast is very good. Hey, this kid holds potential alright. Kyuubi thought to himself. Then both Naruto and Kyuubi noticed Tenchi, Sakura and Ino come back. Tenchi looked at Naruto for a moment before telling Sakura and Ino something. Moments later Naruto felt their chakra move and cover them. He understood they used the refreshing technique. Moments later he felt Tenchi crouch in front of him. Naruto stopped the meditation and looked at Tenchi. That was, it felt, Naruto began, but couldn't find words. Nice. Tenchi asked and Naruto nodded. Yeah, but it was cool too. I could see my chakra. Naruto yelled and jumped up. Tenchi groaned and rubbed his ears. No need to yell, Naruto. But yes, it is really cool. Tenchi said smilingly. Kyuubi, how deep was he? Tenchi then asked. Huh, what do you mean? Naruto asked and both Kyuubi and Tenchi chuckled. He wasn't very deep. He couldn't sense much around him, but his hearing increased. But with practice he should be able to enter deeper states. Kyuubi reported and Tenchi nodded. Will someone tell me what's going on? Naruto yelled. Take it easy. We mean that the better you are at meditating, the deeper you go. The deeper you go, the more aware you become and the more relaxing it is for the body. Deep enough and you won't need sleep either, although it does not mean you should stop sleeping if you reach that level. Tenchi explained and Naruto nodded slowly. Anosa, will I reach that level? Naruto asked. Perhaps, were the replies. Then Tenchi stood up and pointed to the tree Naruto climbed. Come on, try again, he said. Naruto nodded and stood up. Forming the ram seal again, he ran towards the tree and went up it. This time he did much better, nearly reaching Sakura and Ino's current max. Wow, that's a huge improvement. Soon he will be ready for the water walk. Tenchi thought and pride welled up in him. Oh, time to check on the girls. He thought and headed over to Sakura and Ino. They were still using the refreshing technique. Tenchi sat down in front of them and closed his eyes. Entering his standard meditative state, he saw how much chakra they had left. Ino and Sakura looked at him questionably but didn't say anything. Girls, go back to tree climbing please. Tenchi suddenly said. Ino and Sakura got to their feet and looked at Tenchi, waiting for him to get up. Finally Ino got enough. Hey, sensei, get up. Aren't you going to watch? She asked. I am watching. Now get moving. Tenchi ordered. Sakura and Ino shrugged and moved to their tree. Starting to climb, both felt how tired they were, but also it seemed strangely easy to climb. They didn't realize their chakra lasted half a meter further up than usual. When they landed, they stared in disbelief at the tree. See, even when you are exhausted from all that running, you manage to improve. This is what it means to train. To push past limits. You two understand? Tenchi asked, and Sakura and Ino whirled around to stare at him. He hadn't moved at all, sitting in the same position on the same spot. Uncle? Sakura asked. Tenchi still didn't move, but she got the impression that he was amused. I am in my meditative state. In this state, I have heightened senses. I can see you even with my eyes closed. Perhaps I will teach you two how to meditate soon. Naruto already knows it. Tenchi explained, and the girls looked over and saw that Naruto was closing in on them. How did he improve so much? Ino asked. Because he learned how to meditate, and he saw how his chakra moves. That showed him how to move chakra correctly. That is a big part of what control is. Knowing how chakra moves. Yes, I have to teach you two how to meditate. Alright, come here, Tenchi said. The girls turned from Naruto and walked over to their still meditating sensei. Sit. And they did. Crossing their feet like Tenchi had, they paid full attention to him. Meditation is something that is very useful. I won't explain what it is, since I believe you two are so smart you would do better by discovering yourselves. Tenchi said, and the girls glared at him. Lazy uncle. Sakura mumbled, but Tenchi ignored her. Here is what I will tell you. When meditation, you focus on either one thing or nothing at all. Although I focus on one thing, there are those that clear their mind completely when they meditate. And before you ask, there is no better way, and there is no requirement for what to focus on. But it has to be something soothing. Meditation puts you in a trance-like state that, when used properly, serves its purpose perfectly. Now I want you two to try it. Remember, focus on only one thing. When you do it properly, you will feel a calmness spread over you. Allow that to come, but all other thoughts don't belong in meditation. Tenchi explained. Sakura and Ino nodded before thinking about one thing. Surprisingly the same thing, namely Sasuke. Tenchi noticed right away, since their heat beats increased. You two didn't listen. Something relaxing. That means not Sasuke. Think of the nature around you, or your breathing. Tenchi said, and both girls eeped when he said that. Sakura then thought about the things around her. The sound of the wind, of the birds. She found that it calmed her more than she thought it would. She soon felt the calmness that Tenchi spoke of spread, and she allowed it. When it spread over her whole body and mind, she suddenly found she could hear much better, smell much better. She felt her chakra and saw how it moved. Ino on the other hand focused on breathing evenly. She too felt the calmness spread, but an image of Sasuke throwing shuriken invaded with her thoughts and disrupted her focus. Try again, Ino. Tenchi said, and Ino nodded. It took Ino 2 more tries until she entered the meditative state. Tenchi then let both of them stay that way for a while, watching them rebuild their chakra reserves. 1 hour after Ino entered her meditative state, Tenchi's voice brought them both back. It's time to work again. He said, and Ino and Sakura opened their eyes to see Tenchi smiling brightly at them. But well done both of you. I am proud of you. He said, and helped them rise. That was amazing, sensei. I could hear so much. Ino said. Me too. And I saw how my chakra moved. Sakura said, and Tenchi nodded. That's good. Then you should both know how to move your chakra, if only a little better. Now, I am going to let you try one more time before going home. He said and pointed to their trees. Sakura and Ino nodded and ran over to their trees and ran up. Tenchi looked up and smiled as they both ped by the points they had stopped at before and reached the top. When they started to fall, he ran up and caught them both. Laying them down on the ground, he smiled even wider. See, you did it. Both of you reached the top. Excellent work. When Naruto gets down, the training for today is over. Tenchi said, and as on cue Naruto landed with a thud behind him. Damn, I'm almost to the top. Naruto yelled and prepared to rush again when a hand grabbed him. No, that is enough. Training is over for today. Each of you have shown MIV improvements today, and deserve a little rest. Come on, let's go to Ichiraku. My treat. Tenchi said, and Naruto whopped in joy. Sensei? Ino asked. Yes, Tenchi replied, turning to the girl. I hope you are rich, since Naruto can eat a lot of ramen. Ino said, and Sakura snickered. I know he can. I know, Tenchi said sadly while he gave them a smile before they headed towards Konoha and food.